I know you got to go soon, so I won't take up too much more of your time. But one of the big talking points in our DJ Puffy interview was, he prepared his final set in 6 hours. He said this was supposed to be like a 3 month task, but he knocked it out in 6 hours. So I was wondering,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
how do
he
you feel
told me
about that?
that. He told me that, and I was like, man, I prepared my set in before sound check.
Yeah.
You're talking about 6 hours. Like, come on, man. I had my set. So I went over there with 3 sets.
Hmm.
And then the Friday morning, I kind of woke up and I was like, nah, like I'm not feeling it. What would I do at a club? I never prepare sets. I don't prepare sets. You go with what you're feeling at the time.
Okay.
And I remember writing down my set list on the laundry like receipt
Hmm.
in the morning. So and I was like, man, I prepared my set that day,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean, a couple hours beforehand. And then the World Finals, I was preparing my set on the way to sound check. I was in the car, boiling heat on my laptop, like getting stuff ready and preparing it. Sometimes you just gotta you gotta go with what you're feeling. But yeah, he's the same way. So me and him pretty much alike. We just kind of feel it. He was like, yeah, I did mine in 6 hours. I was like, yeah, bro, I did mine like a couple hours beforehand. Like, but that's how you play. When you go to a
Right.
club, again, when we had that discussion, because me and Puffy are real tight. And
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, dude, I understand. To other people, they might freak out like, oh, but it takes months. I was like, yeah, but you don't prepare for months for a club set.
Yeah.
You prepare that day. Like,
But club and a world DJ competition are two different things.
but that's the thing. When you're there, it doesn't feel like a comp.
Right.
It feels like you're just at a festival and you're playing.
Yeah.
And you go and do what you do. Like, I don't know, man. A lot of guys, they prepare, and they should. By right, you should always be prepared.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, to some guys, they like that freedom. For me, I love the freedom of I'm just going to go with what my gut tells me to do. And yeah, I don't know. See, my Friday qualifier was not a prepared set. Mm-hmm. It was just me chucking stuff into a folder and going, okay, let's just go. You know what I mean? I'll load stuff and just go. And then Saturday was a more prepared set. You know what I mean? And it didn't really kind of work out for me. But I had mad technical issues and all sorts of issues with that. Yeah, I mean, like, there was no way for me to. I could have won. I spoke to all the judges after. I could have won, but it was just like, it was too hard. I went a minute over time.
Yeah.
Worst thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, literally the worst thing you could do. Needle breaking wasn't a good point.
I saw that. Jazzy Jeff replaced your needle, right?
Yeah, replacing the needles. Yeah, that was crazy. There's a funny story with that. Because, like, obviously the needle thing happened. But then I was talking to Jeff the next day, and I was like, man, that's probably the first that's ever happened. Like, no DJ in the world could ever say, Jazzy Jeff came up and changed my needles. You know what I mean? So I'll take that. I had two thoughts. And this is where I had two thoughts. My first thought was, I'm doing my thing and I'm freestyling. Mind you, that whole bit, I had to freestyle that on the spot because it wasn't part of my routine.
Obviously,
So the needle broke, and I was like, "Oh, what do I do? Because this song is about to finish, and I need to switch."
Mm-hmm.
So I had to randomly put in some cue points, and then just start drumming.
Yeah,
on the fly. On the fly, man. Like, who does that? So, and then I go, dude, I had to do that on the fly, and then all I see is Jazzy Jeff jump up. He's putting the needle. And I go to Jeff. I was like, man, I'm sitting there and I'm watching going, wow, Jazzy Jeff is loading up
Yeah.
the needle on the turntable. He's like, oh, man, that's so cool, man. That's so good. I go, yeah, but Jeff, my second thought was a bit of a dickhead thought. He's like, what do you mean? Okay, I was a bit of a dickhead in my own brain. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, my first thought was, wow, Jazzy Jeff's putting the needle on the record. He's like, yeah. I go, and my second thought was, wow, Jazzy Jeff totally forgot to put the needle on the record. he was in hysterics. He's like, oh man, I totally forgot to do that. So not only did he forget to, I told him, I go, dude, not only did you forget to put the needle on the record, you left the plastic cover on the needle, like a protection cover. I was like, so, it's like, oh man, I'm real sorry. I was like, nah, man, like it's an amazing thought, but I did have that dickhead moment, like, you know what I mean? But that's a highlight, you know what I mean? And with the Red Bull thing, I went there not even as an underdog. I went there as a nobody. The only way people knew me was from the whole like situation in Australia. So they didn't know, like, you know, if who I was or if I was going to come with anything, you know, credible at all. Like, they thought, oh, this guy's from Australia, and the biggest news out of there was G Smooth cheating.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, a few people saw my video and they were like, wow, this guy's really, like, skilled, but they never took me serious as a DJ. It was only after I did my set that the whole thing changed. Everything changed, because it was like, oh wow, this guy's gonna be a favorite. Not just, I wasn't even an underdog. I was a nothing. And then, you know what I mean? Like, and that Friday was the worst. Like, I picked the worst day, but, you know, going up against pretty much all the favorites. But at the same time, like, everyone was like, oh, what's the game plan? What day are you going to choose? What set are you going to choose? And I'm a battle DJ, so I kind of was like, I don't care. Like, I don't care who I go against. I don't care what day, what time. Just as soon as I'm on, I'm on. I don't care.
Yeah.
So put me any day. I'll go any day, anytime. Like there's no strategy here. There's me just I'll blindfold myself and put my name on what day and what time. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I picked the Friday first. I just was like, you know what? I want to go first on the last day of the qualifiers.